Here's what's going on. After about a week and a half of very cold weather, especially focused in the northern plains, call it the big freeze of December 2016, there are some signs that that's going to actually step back a little bit toward the end of the year. We've got milder weather coming our way this week in time for the Christmas holiday, and it looks like it'll be a lot less stormy. The usual freezing drizzles and light snows, but no organized significant precipitation. I want to take a minute tonight and talk about the polar vortex, one of the most misunderstood, misused words in all of weather or ag weather. What the polar vortex isn't is a cold snap. What it is a big circulation of air around the North Pole. There's another one on the bottom side of the Earth, and it's in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and it's not whether you go outside and feel. But it kind of has an influence on our weather. It has two phases. The strong polar vortex tends to lock the extreme cold up in the high Arctic. When the polar jet sometimes weakens, it becomes a little softer, a little lighter. Remember, these are upper level winds. It becomes a little more wobbly. Then you can get areas of Arctic air that break out. And sometimes, like what happened this past weekend, that breaks out into the northern plains, or in this case, a lot of the United States. So in a way, a weaker polar vortex does often determine these cold air outbreaks. But you don't call this a polar vortex. The polar vortex is the upper level wind circulation around the pole, and it's still up there. So the cold weather has arrived, but with the jet stream beginning to shift a little bit, we're going to kick that really cold air back up toward Hudson Bay fairly early this week. The weather across the U.S. for Christmas will remain fairly cool across a large part of the United States. South Florida, Southern California, Arizona escape most of the cold, but a lot of the nation will be cool. But none of the nation will be Arctic this week. Looks like it'll stay fairly comfortable most areas through Christmas. A little rain ongoing right now in the southeast. I don't see a lot of precipitation really as we go through this week, except a lot of heavy rain and some snows in the mountains in the Pacific Northwest. As I said, the usual freezing drizzles and light snows. Plains, Great Lakes, maybe some localized modest lake effects, but nothing really heavy in terms of precipitation ongoing this week. The cool weather will linger across the U.S. after Christmas, beginning to retreat. The Arctic air, I think, through the end of the year will remain up north. So in fact, we may actually get a warming trend toward the new year. And as far as any big precipitation goes, the last week of the year, I really don't expect any, except perhaps a little bit along the coast. So things are looking fairly quiet. Down in South America, a little more concentrated rain in the central part of South America. South Argentina looking mainly dry. It looks fairly dry across Australia as well. So putting it all back together, it's been cold, but I don't expect much more, and it looks fairly quiet for the next 2 weeks.